Guanyin Bodhisattva transformed into a middle-aged woman and descended from the clouds. She had barely steadied herself when a burly man grabbed her by the collar and flung her into a muddy ditch by the roadside. Mud splashed everywhere. Villagers gathered to watch. Some laughed, some cursed, but no one offered help. She sat in the mud for a moment, then slowly rose. Soaked through, hair clinging to her face, she looked like a true fugitive. She glanced at the sky, sighed softly, and walked into the village. At the east end stood the grand home of Li, the richest man in the village. High walls surrounded his courtyard, and the gate was painted bright red. She knocked a steward, opened the door, looked her up and down with disgust, and said, "Go away, don't dirty our doorway." "I am not a criminal," she said gently. "I only seek shelter from the rain and a cup of hot water." The steward sneered. "Even the ground beneath our eaves is precious. You are not worthy." He slammed the door and bolted it. She then went to the west end, where Zhang the butcher lived, a man known for his violent temper. Before she could finish asking for help, he stormed out with a knife, shouting, "Get lost, or I'll cut you down!" "I only ask for a bowl of water," she replied. He kicked her hard in the stomach. She staggered back, almost falling. When she looked at him, there was no hatred in her eyes, only pity uneasy under her gaze. He cursed and slammed his door shut. Rain poured heavier, her clothes clung to her body, and she shivered in the cold. Just then a broken wooden door nearby creaked open. A thin woman rushed out. "Oh dear, you'll catch your death! Come inside quickly!" Her name was Chunfing. Her husband had died from illness, leaving her alone with 2 children. They lived in the poorest mud brick house in the village, its roof leaking whenever it rained. She led the soaked woman inside. The room was dim, lit by a small oil lamp. Chunfing found a dry towel and handed over an old cotton jacket she had saved for herself. "Put this on, don't catch a chill." "No need to thank me," Chunfing said with a smile. "Everyone faces hardship." She went to the kitchen to boil water. There was little firewood, but she carefully fed the sticks she had gathered. She scooped the last bit of rice from the jar to cook thin porridge. After a brief hesitation, she poured in all that remained. The guest watched quietly, noticing cracks in the walls, rain dripping from the ceiling, and the 2 children curled together under a single quilt, staring with wide eyes. Soon the porridge was ready. Chunfing set a bowl before her. "It's thin. Please don't mind." Though simple, the porridge carried a gentle fragrance. After finishing it, the guest said softly, "You have a kind heart. I just can't bear to see others suffer." Chunfing replied, "If you have nowhere to go, stay here until the rain stops." The woman nodded. At dawn, Chunfing awoke to brilliant golden light filling the room, shielding her eyes. She looked around in shock. The crumbling mud brick house had vanished. In its place stood a bright brick and tile home. The roof no longer leaked. The walls were whole new tables, and chairs stood neatly arranged. Thick bedding covered the bed. The rice jar was filled to the brim. Sacks of flour and a jar of oil stood nearby. Firewood was piled high, and the water jar was full. As Chunfing stared in disbelief, a gentle voice spoke. Do not be afraid." She looked up and saw Guanyin Bodhisattva seated upon a lotus throne radiant with golden light, her face serene and compassionate. Chunfing fell to her knees in awe. "You were willing to help someone in their greatest need." Guanyin said with a smile, "This is your blessing." She continued, "Li, rich but merciless, lost his granary in last night's storm. All his grain was soaked. Zhang, cruel and ruthless, found all his meat spoiled, and even his knife rusted." Chunfing was speechless. "From now on, your life will grow better." Guanyin said, "Your children will grow safely and have promising futures." As she finished speaking, her figure faded into golden light. When Chunfing stepped outside, the rain had stopped, sunlight bathed the courtyard in warmth. In the years that followed, her life truly prospered. She shared part of her grain with other poor families. The villagers said her kindness had and divine protection. Li and Zhang became more restrained, no longer daring to bully others. Her 2 children grew up well. One became a physician, the other a teacher, both filial and devoted. Whenever people spoke of Chunfeng, they called her blessed. But blessings do not fall from the sky. They are built little by little through kindness and compassion.